I am here with Dr. Damian Martins of Atlantic Health Systems, Atlantic Sports Health, and we're talking about COVID-19 and returning to sport, post-COVID for an athlete. What should they be looking at, and what precautions should we be taking?
Well, Bill, we get this question a lot, especially with all the things in the news with athletes developing COVID and these types of infections. And I'll share with the audience what I am most concerned about, and that's really the cardiac issues.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt that a certain small percentage of athletes will develop inflammation around the heart, something called myocarditis. And we've known for a long time in the sports medicine world that up to about 5% of all sudden cardiac death in this age group, the high school, college athletes, are probably attributed to myocarditis. So our big concern after an athlete has a significant COVID infection is to really make sure that the heart is okay. And so there's several things we can do, several additional tests that we can do. But I also think it's important to put things in perspective, right? We also know that there's many more common viruses such as the flu, mono, parvo, Coxsackie that can cause this. In fact, it's estimated that anywhere between 1 and 5% of all people with acute viral infections will develop some level of myocarditis or inflammation around the heart.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. I mean, obviously, COVID is very infectious, and it's caused us to go into this pandemic mode. But these other illnesses do the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's precaution as parents or as athletes we should take if it's COVID or any other one of these diseases that we might get. What other areas or points of concern that you feel would be important to share with
Sure.
parents?
Well, I encourage parents to make sure they seek the advice of their physician. Now, we are blessed here at Atlantic Sports Health due to the great support from our leaders to have developed a one-stop shopping for the athletes. We are blessed with advanced imaging and sports cardiology department. So we've got the ability to get these athletes screened. So, we try to follow the American College of Cardiology recommendations, which says that if you have moderate to severe symptoms, and a simple tool I tell the parents is if it's below the neck. So if you develop body aches, chills, shortness of breath, chest pain, these moderate or significant symptoms, the athlete needs to be screened before they can return to participation. And we follow their recommendations, which includes an EKG to look at the electrical current through the heart, a blood test called a troponin to look at heart inflammation, and a cardiac echo, which is to look at the structures around the heart through ultrasound. In rare cases, we go on to do additional testing such as cardiac MRI. So, we encourage our athletes to return safely, and if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out, and we're happy to get the athletes checked out.
Well, Dr. Martins, that is so impressive, and knowing you now for over a decade, one of the things that I really get excited about is you're so well researched. I mean, everything you do here, you point to a research study or a number of research studies, and you can't always take just one research study and say, hey, that's the answer, that's the end all be all, because it's never like that.
Never.
But you and your team and the hospital at large, really take a hard look at what's out there, and you really put best practices together. And with this COVID thing, I have such a feeling of security, hearing from you about what to do and how to proceed in terms of times like this or any injury. So thanks so much for sharing. This information is vital for our parents, our athletes, people to hear, not only locally here in New Jersey, but nationally, globally, throughout the world. It's an information that we all have to take advantage of. And I think Atlantic Health does a great thing helping us to get this message out. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Bill.